What's going on YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here. Today I am going to bring you a budget version slash a magic find version of the iceshot build that I've been playing over the past few leagues, and explaining exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, so on and so forth, on how to min-max the damage you're going to be getting. I will say that this is a relatively inexpensive budget for the most part. The most expensive part will be my quiver, but you don't need my quiver exactly. You can actually cut the budget a little bit and use a different one. So let's go ahead and show you basically what we're looking at here. Right. Now I do have 3 points unspent. I'm just going to spec them randomly in somewhere I think will be generally beneficial for my build, and then I will show you exactly what we're doing and how you can go about stacking your damage layers, so on and so forth. So, first things first, here's my gear setup. We are using a excuse me, a 6-link Wind Ripper for the quantity rarity. We are using the Esnath's Chant. That way we can, in our chant, we can apply the Sniper's Mark, Creeping Frost, Bone Chill, Hydrosphere. We're currently using a quantity damage Ice the Great Wolf with no current anointment. Eventually I'll get to anointing it, I just haven't gotten around to it. We have 2 Ventur's Gambles, one with 4 quant and a bunch of res, the other one with 10 quant and a decent res and rarity. We have a 6-link Hero's Ire, non-legacy, so we can give you an accurate damage test. Quantity, String of Servitude, perfect quantity corrupted gold rims, and with +2 area, so we get literally +2 levels on our auras and our herald. Our auras and herald are linked to enlighten, so we can actually use all of them and be able to use everything. We are using non-corrupted Sadimas just to kind of, showcase the build more than anything. In our Sadimas, we have a second wind, dash, and blood rage. Our bow is inspiration, ice shot, LE damage with attacks, cold pin, cold damage, and GMP. Our single target is ice shot, cold pin, added cold elemental damage with attacks, inspiration, barrage support. So barrage support gives you 3 additional projectiles, with our ascendancy giving us 2 more. For a natural of 6 projectiles as is, we go up to 8 projectiles with Dying Sun. And the way this build works is if we fire like this, we will start applying our different stuff that's in our helmet. And if we have Hydrosphere out like this, basically we just start shooting and we hit the Hydrosphere initially and then hit the enemy. Now to make the most out of this, you need 1 Pierce. I have 1 Pierce spec'd over here. My Void Fletcher actually doesn't have Pierce on it. It currently has +1 chain, so I decided to opt in to spend 2 points for that Pierce. Oh, excuse me. Whoa. Sorry about that. And of course, Void Fletcher adding a lot of damage to itself overall, and then Void Shots. So let's go ahead and go over the tree. Our tree is relatively cookie cutter. We have a single 7-point Voices, which has 3 crit clusters. Now, I actually have these in here from an older variant of this build, but I just left them in here. You can actually, instead of this, use something along the lines of the point blank setup. That way you're able to apply more damage overall. However, because we're not using Chinso, we're using Wind Ripper, we're using Far Shot, I believe. Oh, this is actually not using Far Shot, so if we do this and do this, now we are. And Far Shot gives you 60% more damage, and your projectiles from barrages don't spread. We are using Gathering Winds, Endless Munitions, Ricochet, so we have another chain, totaling 2 natural chains with our quiver. We have a pretty decent amount of quantity, 29 here, 15 here, 14 total here, what is this, 18 here, and then 15 against frozen enemies, which we freeze enemies relatively often. And the overall way this works is whenever we're firing against a boss, for example, we're going to be doing the barrage. Now, our barrage will initially hit the this here, doing that cone damage as you see there, and then pierce the hydrosphere, hitting the boss again, dealing an additional hit. Now, what this means is for one volley of barrage, we end up hitting the boss like 16 times instead of only 8. And on top of this, the hydrosphere ends up hitting them as well. Then the void shots hit them, so we have a pretty fair share of damage just off of that. Our sniper's mark makes it so we actually do a lot more damage overall. We're going to go ahead and just penetrate Cold Res because we can. And without further ado, we're going to get right into the map. We have Spider Forest in. We're not going to throw Maven on. And I don't know exactly if I can do Deli on this or if it's going to be too laggy, but I'm going to go ahead and test it out so you guys can see basically how it performs at the same time as I do. Now, I will say these gem links aren't optimal. If you've seen my other builds, I'm using crit strike, crit damage for a lot of my iceshot builds. This is just what I have currently in the build, and I haven't tweaked it. I wanted to kind of reiterate that, you know, running a all-unique and a budget version of iceshot is viable, and you're able to do in-game content with it. So if this is something you want to do, then please feel free to take after this video and, you know, just have fun with it.
No trace.
I actually have Blood Rage talking somewhere. That's, there we go. Well, we have almost no movement speed on this setup. Thus we get like a headhunter buff because of our boots. There we go, there's a buff. We only have one Inspired Learning on and no headhunter. I wanted to make this as budgeted as possible. I know a lot of people like to zoom, but this is just an experiment kind of showing you the budget variant of this. Now, I don't have a second curse, and you can apply a second one if you want to. The way you go about that is either doing the Herald of Ice setup to do it that way, or you know, something along that lines. As you see, we're able to kill rares relatively easy. Being able to apply a whole bunch of different projectiles on enemies is really what you're aiming for here. Now, as you see here, we are actually getting a pretty decent amount of drops. This is a standard thing for this build, is to kind of slow roll it, but get as much drops as possible. And this is the boss for player. And we end up getting 3 maps and a synthesized map off of one boss. So just so you guys can kind of see that this isn't, you know, confirmation bias or whatnot, I will drop one more map in to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see, what do we get? Reflect Fizz. I think I'm fully converted, right? 60, and then I have my 40. Okay, good. So I can do Reflect Fizz in this build. Sweet. I have a certain iceshot build that's only like 80% converted because I don't need it fully converted, and it's using the alt quality iceshot gem and saving me 3 nodes. So, you know me and iceshot, I like to experiment, and this is one of them, and I'm glad I got to show you, you know, the initial. As you see in one map, we actually found 3 alt maps, and we found a map sustain in the area we're farming Delirium in. So, all in all, I think it was a pretty good haul there. We're going to go ahead and do another delirium map because we're here testing things out and kind of showing you guys exactly what it's about. Spider Forest again. Now, as I said, you're not going to go zoom on this build. This isn't something you're going to do, unfortunately. You can drop the quantity on the belt if you want to add the torrent. That will add a lot more movement speed. You can also drop the quantity on the boots, which will add even more movement speed because the boots are relatively bad. And, you know, you'll end up having to just kind of figure out what you're going to do from there.
You are being controlled by greater forces.
I don't have any of the new stuff for flasks on this current setup, so... Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I think what that was is the totems. There's like these static totems that if you're not careful, they literally just kind of murder you. Unfortunately, in Delirium, and especially on console, you'll end up not seeing these static totems, and that can be a very big problem. So just keep an eye out. If you're doing this, you will run into those eventually, and they hurt. They hurt a lot. So yeah, just a heads up for you guys. Go ahead and go back in the map. Hopefully I have time to catch the fog. If not, it's not a horrible thing, you know. It's standard. I have plenty of currency and plenty of items worth currency. Eventually I'll get a whole bunch of chaos up again. I will say on this build, especially if you're doing MF, the hardest part is to cap your reses. Now, if you're not capping your reses, you're going to be messing up because you're not going to be getting as much as you possibly could for it.
I'm not up to that just
Oh,
yet.
looks like we missed the fog. That's a shame. But that's fine. We'll go ahead and just slow roll it through this map. Oh, looks like we're dead end here. Ah, nice. We have a legion over here. Okay, let's go ahead and pop this legion so we can kind of show you what that's about.
My mana is gone.
Now with GMP and 2 chains, one via our ascendancy, one via our other, we do have a relatively... oh, I'm not healing. Why am I not healing? I don't think I have an instant flask on this setup. I think I just died without an instant flask, so let's check that. Like I panicked, tried to heal, and all 3 of my potions didn't give me any health back, so... We have... Oh, that's not what we wanted to see. Alright, well, that's unfortunate. I guess I'll just have to deal with that in a bit. Now, as I said, I don't have my flask set up the proper way. I actually can drop the diamond flask as soon as I get increased crit chance and crit multi in my kit. That's even more damage than the setup I have currently. Basically, you drop elemental damage with attacks and inspiration. You lose a little bit more, but you get a whole lot of multi, which is just insane. If you're using the old iceshot build and doing that, I would highly recommend trying to switch to the multi setup, just as a heads up. As you see, we're just kind of slow rolling our way through the map. And I think I just got an idea for what I'm going to name the video, so this is a pretty good experiment.
I'm not up to that just yet.
All right. Ow, we died. That's unfortunate. But oh well. Now, as I said before, there is this is a budget build. You can make improvements where you see fit. If you want to add more damage on, excuse me, on one way or the other, you can. I personally just kind of threw a bunch of quant and magic find uniques on a build and decided to call it a day. I am going to go back in there and kill it just so I have the excuse me, opportunity to you know, get what I need to get. As you saw there, we're on Portal 4, and you know, Portal 4 may not seem like the best thing to you know, think about. I'm doing 4 portals, but in consideration of the fact that I have literally almost no damaging gear pieces, I don't have a good belt, I don't have good rings, I don't have boots, I don't have gloves, I don't have an amulet, and I don't even have a really good bow. All of my damage is offloaded and front loaded from the kit. If I were to upgrade any one piece of gear, it's just exponential on how much more damage you end up doing. So if you guys want to do this build, I would recommend maybe not doing the magic find version. This is just more for my scientific proof in a way to kind of show you guys that you can still magic find even on tier 16 Awakener 9. There should be nothing stopping you from doing magic find if you want to. Now obviously if you don't want to have the quant on your belt, don't run it. Run a headhunter. That would probably be your best bet, just because as soon as you get 2 or 3 buffs going, you're going to be able to zoom and have all the magic find. And when you're running like, you know, 20-30 maps at a super speed rate, you have headhunter buffs, you're able to kill like the boss in a couple of seconds with headhunter buffs, and you're able to just do whatever you want. You're not going to have any issues. Now, what I will do to kind of show you guys a little bit more about the build is I will take this into a Conqueror fight eventually when I have a Conqueror ready. Probably like Drox or someone, and show you me just killing Drox with that. So I don't know exactly how I died there. I think it was a corpse explosion. But at least we have a portal and we don't have to walk all the way back, right? So your basic first upgrades for this build is, without even a doubt, is going to be double taming. Double taming is going to set your reses straight, in which case you can actually drop a notable that I have in my tree. I have a 3 passive lightning cluster, which is giving me the lightning res I'm missing. And you'll be getting that lightning res because one of my rings only has like 20 lightning res instead of having the 40 or more that you get from taming. So that's just your first step. Alright. Can you not? Oh, I see what's killing me. It's that caustic round. Okay. So, let's see. Bosses have attack damage, cast speed, 2 projectiles, Basically, all he's doing is throwing his caustic ground on me and insta-killing me because this character has negative chaos resistance, and no way around that right now, as I'm, again, using a whole gimped up build. You can do a version of this build if you want to maybe do something along the lines of like using 4 or 5 rares and capping your chaos res as well. That's a perfectly good. Or if you want to just drop the MF altogether, you're able to do, you know, high tier maps with a build that is actually able to do the maps you need to do. So there's always that. It's my last portal. Am I going to be able to kill this guy? I literally didn't even see what happened. Alright, well, my character got deleted without me seeing the screen. That happens on console, but oh well. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. I know this is a little bit longer. The first video was a better example, obviously, than the second video. However, you know, you got to live and learn and figure out what you're going to do. And I do hope this has been informative, and I hope you guys like it. Without further ado,